Here also electronic degeneracy is not removed. Here is also electronically degenerate state, and here also it is electronically degenerate state. It is not stable right now also. So in order to get stabilized, it has to undergo splitting again. How that splitting is going to happen? Before that, we have to observe the complex, and in complex we have to observe the orbitals, the orientation of orbitals, and from where the ligands are approaching. So suppose we are having a metal here, right? So I am designating 3 directions. This is x-axis, okay, and this is z-axis, and this is above and below the plane. I'm not able to show it, but you have to just imagine that this is above and below the plane. This is y-axis, so this is x-axis, this is y, and this is z-axis. So now orbitals are present in all of these axes, right? Orbitals are present in all these 3 axes. So what happens here? Actually, ligands are approaching from all these axes in octahedral complexes, right? Ligands are approaching from all these directions, right? They are coming from all these directions. Now what is happening? See, here the set of EG orbitals which we are having, they are having the orbitals dx square minus y square and dz square. So suppose this is dx square minus y square orbital, and this is dz square, okay? Now what will happen? Along here we have 1 electron, right? So this electron can either be in dx square minus y square also, or dz square also. Why? Because they have same energy. Both the orbitals are having same energy. Now what I'm going to do is that I am supposing right now, suppose the electron is in dx square minus y square, okay? We are considering this case, that is, suppose this is our EG orbital. So the electron is in dx square minus y square orbital. This is first I am observing, right? This is I am supposing actually that this electron is in dx square minus y square orbital. So if this is the case, then what happens? This is the dx square minus y square orbital, right? And here the electron is residing, okay? So this is dx square minus y square, and the whole electron density is along these orbitals, right? X and y axis. Here is the electron density. Now what happens? Ligands are approaching, right? And here is the electron density. Ligands are considered to be negatively charged species, right? And electron is also negatively charged. So what happens? The ligands which are approaching along z-axis, they will be approaching very closely, right? So their interaction will be very close, and the ligands which are approaching along x-axis and y-axis, they will remain a little bit far apart, because the nature of ligands as well as the nature of electrons is negative, right? So they will remain a little bit far apart as compared to the ligands which are approaching along the z-axis. So they will be comparatively far and they will be comparatively near. The 2 ligands which are approaching along z-axis, they will be comparatively near, right? So now what happens? The orbital which is along z-axis, that is the dz square orbital, what is going to happen with that orbital? That orbital is going to increase the energy. Why? Because ligand is approaching directly, and the overlap between orbital and this ligand orbital is much more as compared to these orbitals. So dz square, what happens with the energy of dz square? That is increased. So what will happen here? If I again draw this, this was d4 configuration, d4 high spin, right? It undergoes splitting like this to remove the electronic degeneracy. So here also electronic degeneracy is not removed. So what happens? Because the ligands have approached to very close to the z-axis. So this orbital which is along the z-axis, that is dz square. What happens with dz square? That is going to increase the energy, right? And the one dx square minus 1 square, where electron is residing, that will be having decreased energy, right? So this way it is going to split the EG orbitals. Similar will happen with T2G, because see what happens here, when the ligands are approaching, all the orbitals will be undergoing splitting because all are feeling the field of the ligand. So here also we are having dxy, dyz and dzx. So what happens here, the orbital dxy will be having decreased energy, right? Because it is in xy plane, right? The dxy orbital will be in dxy plane, and there also there will be some electron cloud. Obviously the electron cloud will be somewhat there, and because of that they will be having decreased energy. dxy orbital will be having decreased energy, and because of that dyz and dzx will be having increased energy. So if we look at the overall molecule after this distortion and after this splitting, right, this is the second splitting which has happened. Now what happens? Okay, first we'll do the filling. Now what happens here, if we look for the filling, we have to fill 4 electrons, so it will be 1 2 3 and this is 4. So now if you look at these orbitals, then you will see that there are no electronically degenerates present. Now there are no electronically degenerate states present, right? No ED state is present here. Now the molecule will be stabilized after this type of a distortion, right? This kind of distortion has happened so that the ED state gets removed. Now ED state has been removed, right? So I hope this part is clear, why this distortion happens again and how this distortion affects the splitting. So this way splitting happens, and now after these interactions, if you look at the overall molecule, what will happen with the molecule? Here is the metal, right? And if I draw the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, then what happens? Along z-axis the electron has not moved much, right? The ligands are very close, right? And along x and y-axis the ligands are comparatively far apart. So what we can observe in this case, this is the case of Z in, right? This is the case of Z in which what happens, why we are saying Z in, because along Z axis the bond has been compressed, kind of compressed, and along x and y axis the bond has elongated. So because the bond has been compressed, has moved inward towards z axis, that's why it is called as Z in Jahn-Teller distortion, right? So I hope this part is clear. Here what is the main point is that because here the ligand has approached the orbital very nearly, so what happens, due to these interactions, the orbitals which are along dz square, which are along the z axis, they have increased energy, right? Because of more interactions with these negatively charged ligands. So that's why there is increase in energy of dz square here, right? Similarly for the case of dyz and dzx. So basically the orbitals which will be present along or around the z axis, they are going to have increased amount of energy. So that's why this kind of splitting happens. If you are clear with z in, then it will be easier for you to understand about the z out, right? So similar concept will be applied there. So here what happens, here in x and y axis, what happens with z effective? Along x and y axis z effective is decreasing, right? So that you can understand what is z effective, that we studied a lot. So what happens, because of this shielding provided by these electron clouds, right? So what happens here, z effective is decreasing, and along z axis what happens, the z effective is increasing, right? So that way also you can explain, because of the z effective, right? Ligands are approaching along x and y axis, and electron cloud is also along x and y axis, so z effective is going to decrease, right? And here along dz square, z effective increases. So that is the main reason behind this splitting which we observe. Z effective is the main reason behind this splitting which we observe. So I hope I have cleared your doubts regarding Zin, and if this part is clear to you, then it will be easier for you to study Z out, right? So in the next video we will continue with Z out. So I hope this video was useful for you. So far that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching.